Good morning and welcome to everybody to our first workshop of the day, which is all about making money from music licensing. And I've got my friend Michelle Lockey here, who is going to be telling us all about how to make money from music licensing, all the ins and outs, how to write the right kind of music that's going to excite supervisors, and how to connect with them, how all the money stuff works, which I think is probably the most confusing thing about music licensing, which I think she does a great job in this presentation explaining. So just want to let you guys know, in case you don't know me, I know a lot of you do, my name is Bree Noble. I'm the founder of Women of Substance Radio and Podcast, founded the Female Entrepreneur Musician at femmusician.com and the Female Musician Academy. And I do these workshops with Michelle about twice a year, usually, no more than that. And I bring her in because I am not an expert in music licensing. I'm more focused on the marketing and business side, promotion, all that stuff. And she does have expertise in this. And I want to make sure you guys are covered because this is a really important income stream for independent artists. And so she just comes in and lays everything out for you so you know how it all works and you see like a path in front of you of how you can make this happen. So before we get started, I just want to let you know in the chat, you can put questions along the way. I'll be manning the chat. I'll be taking down your questions, and Michelle will be doing a Q&A after the presentation is over. Definitely stick around for that because this is so valuable. There are just tons of golden nuggets that come out during the Q&A that we can't necessarily fit into the presentation, things that are a little more specific and detailed. People ask specific questions about their situation, and she's super generous and answers them for you. So make sure and put those in the chat as they come to you, or after we're done, we'll have the Q&A and you can answer them then. But the presentation itself is about 60 minutes, so I want to make sure we get started on time. So let me introduce you to Michelle Lockey.
Hey, everyone. I think I'll appear here in a second. So hopefully you guys are doing well, and I'm really glad that you decided to come to the workshop. So we are going to go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. And then Bree can let me know once we see the PowerPoint. Just give me a second. Share entire screen. We'll do a little funny thing here first. And just give me the go-ahead when you can see everything. Because my screen does a lot of funky stuff. So, all right. So you should be in slideshow view. I don't know, Bree, if you can.
Yep, I can see you.
I just want to make sure because sometimes these things don't come up. So I'm going to tell you pretty much everything I know about music licensing and how I've been getting my music licensed, and hope that it will help jumpstart your career with that as well. But first, just a little bit about me if you guys don't know anything about me. That little musical note means that, yes, I wanted to do music when I was younger. I would sing a little bit and write songs, but it wasn't something I really thought you could pursue. So I got a degree in biology and biotech sciences and went into the corporate world, where I eventually became a trainer and developed the training department there for all the customers using our equipment. We used to do genetic analysis. And I did really enjoy that work, but I wanted really to do music and to sing and to play and everything like that. So that's what I did. In 2013, roughly, I got laid off from this job, which was the best thing ever, and just went full steam with music. And so I released my first album was in 2008. I found out about the Taxi Rally in 2009 and went there, and it really changed my life. And I started writing for film and TV about 2012. And from then I've got about 250 songs and cues and some instrumentals in my catalog with placements in over 50 different shows on 35 different networks so far. And our BMI statement comes out either tomorrow or Monday, so I'll find out about more placements then, hopefully. You don't always find out about them up front, but we'll talk about that that later. So here's just some of the placements that I've had. Young Sheldon was really cool. It was the first Look trailer that was on this summer. We got a song at the very end of that, so that was a really cool placement. And just some other awesome shows over the years, which has been it's really cool to just hear your music on these things when they come up. So, you know, over the years, people have asked me too, like so much about music licensing that I was just like, well, why don't I just hold a workshop? I mean, I used to do training development, develop workshops and programs anyway. So why couldn't I develop some of these workshops to help other people? So I started having some live workshops in the area, some at colleges, some at studios. And from then I developed my live and online workshops. And I really do enjoy giving back and sharing knowledge with people and encouraging them to go, you know, on their path musically. So with that, let's talk about what film and TV can do for you, or basically what music licensing can do for you. We know that film and TV, they need your songs and ads too to provide depth and emotion to a scene. And music fans are now turning to film and TV to discover songs and artists. So you could get a good placement on an ad or a TV show, release that song, and that will actually stimulate some sales and streaming because your song got placed in film and TV. And I've had that happen to me, and I've had people contact me, like they'll Shazam the song or something, and maybe it's something I hadn't released yet, and they'll contact me, where's the song, and then I'll release it. So it is another avenue to get exposure for your music. And it will also open up a new income stream through sync fees and royalties, and we'll discuss all that of the business aspect. You know, there's approximately, and this is from Robin Frederick's book on film and TV that she has, about 8 million songs are needed in a 6-month period. That's a lot of music. So there's room for everyone in this. There's always new music that's needed. There's always new shows that are being produced. So there's definitely availability for all of us to be doing this. Let's talk about how songs are used. So you can have theme songs. You can have a montage, which means maybe an opening scene where there's the music or songs playing and the characters aren't really doing much, but it's like a meaningful moment. You could have that in the middle of a show as well. You could have a background, which is it's being played on a car radio, on a jukebox, in a nightclub, or it's underscore, which is instrumentally, it's playing underneath the scene to really create some emotional impact. You can also have movie trailer music. Music in ads, which we hear all the time, from the big ads to little ads to, you know, YouTube, everything's using music. Beer ads. Also gaming. Gaming has a lot of its own composers, but it does use some other songs too. That's another avenue. And micro licensing, such as, you know, YouTube and Facebook and things like that, which are going to really start branching out in that area and being able to monetize more of that stuff. There's also what we call royalty free. And I don't mean performance royalty free. So whenever your music is placed on film and TV for broadcast, you get these back end royalties. And those are because they're royalties for performing the song and syncing it to the TV show. What I'm talking about is non-broadcast royalty free, because you always want to get your royalties for your performances. So non-broadcast is like a business that's developing training videos for their employees, or a wedding video, or somebody wants to buy music for their YouTube channel, a web ad, something like that. Those are all have an upfront fee, and there's no back-end royalty because it's not broadcast. So you can make upfront one-time fee money for those kinds of things. And then there's retail radio. So there are several outlets that will take music, usually they like happy, upbeat music, and they will put it into various retail stores to be heard. And you always hear that when you go in the grocery store. There's usually music playing in the background. So that's another avenue for licensing your music. So what kind of music works best? Well, almost any kind of music, really. I mean, happy, upbeat, feel-good's always out there, and then sad and emotional music. So if you're not a happy, upbeat, feel-good kind of person, and I'm raising my hand, you probably can't see me. That's usually me. I'm not that way like all the time. Then sad and emotional, there's plenty of demand for that. And I actually have publishers that they want the sad emotional stuff from me more than the positive stuff because I can do it well and they get placements on it. Just taking a sip of my coffee really quick. So there's all kinds of music that you can make. Anything indie, alternative. If you listen to, there's a radio station in LA, and I can't remember is it KWRC or KW something, which has a lot of current, upcoming, indie kind of music. And if it's on that radio station, chances are that music supervisors are going to want something in that whole arena. Also hip hop, very in demand, and rock. So just about everything there. And so don't feel, like, well, I don't know what style of music I do, or I don't think my music is going to work, because just about anything can work as long as it's crafted with a sync potential. And we're going to talk about crafting here in a minute. So most of the time when you're writing for film and TV, you want to write to some common themes. Like every show or every scene has a theme to it. And when you're watching these, try to pick out what those themes are and make yourself a list. So just some very broad common themes are fear, sadness, family. And you guys can type kind of in the chat what other themes that you think could be appropriate. And themes, they're not necessarily feelings. They're more like, coming of age is a theme. Relationships is a theme. But relationships can be broken down into the good, bad, and the ugly, right? Love is a theme, and that is an emotion. But what kind of love is it? Like, you can break it down further. Good love, bad love, new love, old love, revenge, those kinds. In fact, revenge could probably be a theme as well. Action, action oriented, or something along that arena. That's a theme. Then from that theme, you can break down what emotions might be involved in that. And that's kind of what you're writing your song for, to bring out those emotions under these themes. So I can't see the chat right now, but feel free to kind of type in themes. Everybody can start collecting a list there in the chat. So one thing I learned big time was, how to kind of structure my song so that be most sync friendly. And so what I mean by that is, usually you're either going to craft your songs to a specific theme or a specific pitch, or what I call listing. And I'll just give a quick example of a listing here in a minute. That's usually going to come from a publisher or from a supervisor or from an A&R company. And they're going to be like, look, we're looking for this type of music, this kind of mood, for this kind of scene, and we want this kind of genre. So when I see one of those, I have to look at that. I have to read it and then craft a song for that so I can pitch it and send it along to that listing. And I really need to read and understand what this pitch and listing wants. When I first started doing this, I had my 5-song EP that I didn't write for sync at all. And anytime I saw a pitch for like pop music, I just submitted my songs. Or slow ballad, I submitted my ballad. But it didn't really fit the listing because I didn't really read and look at the rest of it. I was just so excited to just be able to pitch my music. So it took me a while to get the hang of it and understand, okay, what are they really asking for? And some pitches you'll get really good detail and others you won't. And you just kind of have to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to pick this theme and do it in this style. And hopefully that'll be what they want. So a listing can be something like positive acoustic based piano and or guitar, singer-songwriter songs with male vocals, submit emotionally uplifting mid to up-tempo songs in the general stylistic wheelhouse of artists like Jason Mraz, Joshua Radin, and Daniel Powter. So this is just a piece of the listing. Usually there's a lot more to it. Sometimes there's not. This might be all you get. And when we talk about stylistic wheelhouse, you just have to, you obviously don't want to rip off anybody. You don't want to rip off their sound or their riffs or their melodies, lyrics. But you want to think, would this song be in the playlist of these artists, of this genre? That's how I look at it. It's like, okay, if this is in the singer-songwriter male genre, would this song fit in that area when you're crafting songs that way? Here's a little bit more about that listing. Solid song structure with uplifting melodies and a chorus that sounds like something you'd hear on the radio should make them happy. Be sure your lyric themes are positive, feel good, and universal. We'll talk about universal in a minute. Avoid specific names, places, dates, times, brands, and profanity. So this is one. A lot of them don't say like you hear on the radio. There's some of them want like higher bar, like completely hit song styles, and others just want lo-fi indie kind of stuff. So either one could work, and you'll see pitches like that from many different places. Okay, so your songs don't have to be hit songs, but they do need to have universal lyrics. And what I mean by that, actually, let's skip over that for a second. Where is it? All right, never mind. Let's go back through this. So they don't have to be hit songs. They need to have universal lyrics, which we'll talk about in a second. I just tell people, just be wary of maybe an instrument that might pull people away from the scene. Unless it's like a montage or something they want up front. I had this one song that had this kind of rolling, marching drum beat, but it was just really like, it was kind of cool and grabbed your attention. And they didn't choose it for the scene because they thought it was going to pull attention away from what they were trying to use it for. So, I mean, it's not a written rule because other times they might use something like that in a different style scene. But since then, I've just been like, okay, is there anything in the song that's going to just grab people's attention away from the scene? So something to watch for. And you can have, excuse me, you can have a simple guitar vocal could work. Simple piano vocal. You don't have to be crafting things that are super high production with, every instrument under the sun in them every time you write a song. Especially for those of us, who produce ourselves and aren't producing at that caliber yet. It's nice to know that, I could do a guitar vocal and it could potentially make it into one of these pitches. Okay, you also want to craft a themes, which we just talked about. And the main point of that, and the main point of writing for sync, is you want to evoke emotion. So you want to try to use metaphors to bring about the emotion, what emotion you're trying to convey, because that's going to help people when they're watching the show or the movie feel that emotion as well. And then as far as arrangement, just common structures, anything you'd hear today can be used. You don't need anything crazy fancy when it comes to chord arrangement and structure. All right. Everything going okay? I thought I heard noise in the background, so I don't know if somebody's got a question. All right.
Nope, everything's good. Just keeping myself on mute so I don't make noise as I'm chatting with everyone.
Okay. Okay, so universal lyrics. Let's talk about this, because some people think like, well, that's just gonna make it bland or dumb it down. And that is so far from the truth. Actually, it's a lot harder to write a good universal lyric sometimes than it is just to tell it like it is, like, oh, I'm walking down the street and I turn left or whatever. So a universal lyric is a lyric that a large number of people can identify with or relate to. And it basically, they don't want it to conflict with the specific content of the scene. And those are quotes out of Robin Frederick's Shortcuts to Songwriting book. That's the biggest thing. You don't want, a lyric that is going to tell the story. You don't want any descriptions, names, details, or have it be action oriented, because that's what the show is supposed to be doing. They have the characters, they have the content of the scene, the details, what's going on in the scene. Your job as the music creator is to evoke the emotion that's going to be used under that scene, which is why writing to certain themes are most likely going to be used. Like any show that you watch, we've got family, relationships, love, action, death, happy, upbeat, any of that kind of stuff. You could write music to those themes, evoke the emotion you're trying to convey, and they'll be suitable for a number of different film and TV scenes. You also don't want to tell the story, because again, the TV show or the film or the ad are basically telling the story. You just want to support it in that manner. So you can get really descriptive with you can be simple to really, really like descriptive and metaphorical. And I have one example or two, maybe two examples here. This is a song. It's my song. It's on My Masquerade. My friend Paul Otten wrote it with me and sang it. And I can't share sound here, unfortunately. But if after this is over, or if you have another device near you and you just searched My Masquerade Paul Otten, it would come up and you could actually hear the song. We were looking at the lyrics, but we're mostly studying the lyrics. So, and this was in Inside the PGA episode sometime last year. I walk around parading as someone I thought you thought I should be. I fill in the gaps with dressed up distractions, disguising the facts with secondhand seams. All very metaphorical. The first part, I walk around is just a metaphor. He's not really walking around, but the song's called My Masquerade, right? And then the chorus, really simple. My masquerade plays on, but I'm not fooling anyone. My masquerade plays on and on. And so we've got a little bit of metaphors about what's going on here. We've got a very simple chorus, kind of getting to the point, but it's not going to overshadow any specific content or scene. And I wish I could never find that inside the PGA footage. I've searched like high and low. And I know who placed it and everything, but they don't have the footage either. But I'm wondering, it's like, okay, who did the song play next to you? Which golf professional had something to hide, And so, which it might be why they used it. They probably saw the title, My Masquerade, and heard it and went from there. Okay, here's another one. This is by Ingrid Michaelson. She got a lot of placements early on in her career. And this is her Everybody Love song. And her lyrics, we have fallen down again tonight. In this world, it's hard to get it right. Trying to make your heart fit like a glove. What it needs is love, love, love. And then again, very simple chorus. Everybody wants to love. Everybody wants to be loved. We can all relate to that. This has been in commercials. And she uses metaphors. She uses the associations like make your heart fit like a glove. In this world, it's hard to get it right. We can all relate to that, right? And we have fallen down again tonight is definitely, a metaphor for making mistakes and that kind of thing. So that's just a couple examples of how you can craft lyrics, and you can still, be you and put your personality and your emotions into this type of writing. You just can't tell the story as much if you're used to writing kind of story songs. You have to tell more the emotion, what's it really making you feel in that situation. And by the way, to find some of these like words, and I use MasterWriter, and I use their thesaurus and their rhyming dictionary a lot, because I really want to get these deep kind of metaphorical words, and they have so much information in there, more than I could find on the internet. So if I have a word and a thing that I like, but I know I could get deeper, sometimes I'll go in there and I'll see what they have in the thesaurus and the rhyming dictionary.
Yeah, I totally recommend MasterWriter. I use it a lot too.
I have to upgrade mine. I still have the desktop version. I need to upgrade to the online version eventually. But yeah, I like it.
And let me jump in real quick, because there are some questions in the chat, and I just wanted to let you guys know that, and I'm not sure if Michelle mentioned it at the beginning because I was a little distracted, but if you guys stay till the end of the presentation, she's going to give you a link to her licensing checklist. Yes. So you guys can have, kind of an easy way to make sure that your music is going to work for this.
Yeah. It's I think it's 10 step sync checklist. Yes, and I was just thinking I was supposed to mention that at the beginning, and I didn't. I forgot. So thank you for mentioning that.
This is perfect, because some people weren't here for the first 10 minutes, so I'm glad we're mentioning it now. So hang out, and we'll give you that link at the end.
Now we can talk about quality, and there's a term going around called broadcast quality, and the only way to really describe that, it doesn't. I mean, you might think, it needs to be broadcast on radio. It's going to be good enough quality for that. That's not necessarily true. Basically, I tell people, listen to a variety of music that's currently used on film and TV, and see the quality. I mean, obviously, big ads are going to be like top quality. But there's a lot of lo-fi music that's used, and different types of instrumentals. You can get on a site called tunefind.com. and you can browse shows there and listen to songs used. They don't really play instrumentals. But broadcast, it's more about how the song is working overall. I mean, obviously you have to play to a certain level, to be in time most of the time, to the beat, depending on what kind of song it is. And everything has to mesh together and sound like real instruments. And, the vocal has to be a certain quality. And then the lyrics and the emotion of it and how it's crafted kind of all work together to create this broadcast quality. But it can be a lo-fi, meaning that, especially in the indie world where, maybe it's not the EQ isn't as great on it, or it's got this, maybe this electric guitar hiss that goes through it, so it's a little bit lower quality sounding, but people use that in the shows because it's got that cool vibe to it. And, if you just get a clean record, if you're dabbling at home recording and you just get a clean recording of your guitar in time, played decently, and a nice vocal, that is broadcast quality. As long as it's all working together. And I've had students do that after taking the class and getting songs signed now. So it doesn't have to be crazy, high bar, the best production that you can ever get. And we'll talk about, if you don't produce, about finding producers that can work with you and will break your bank, because I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't find them. So that's why I say home recordings are fine. Okay. Now, a majority of the music used out there is instrumental. So what I do, I create mostly songs. I'm doing more instrumental cues this year, but with my songs, I take out the vocal and there's my instrumental. And so I will often, and most places are going to ask you for your song with vocals and the instrumental version without vocals, because chances are they're going to use the instrumental in that placement. And so I do that so that I have an instrumental. Sometimes I will take the instrumental and I'll chop it down to like 60 seconds or 30 seconds, because sometimes they'll want that as well. But you can also specifically craft instrumental cues for film and TV. And basically it's just instrumental music or a sound effect that somebody's going to use in a film or TV production to support the goal of the scene. And I already talked about that second point, that most cues are instrumentals because they don't conflict with the dialogue, and it's just easier to slide something under there. So a cue basically creates a mood and it can build tension. There's all kinds of cues, like there's tension cues. There's the big thing now is the sci-fi cues that are in Stranger Things, like the whole synth sci-fi thing. There's dramedy, which is all pizzicato strings and bells and weird, different things like that. There's simple acoustic guitar strumming. How often go to Nat Geo or Discover or any of those that have the reality shows and start listening. And if you don't have a TV and you don't watch TV, find them on YouTube. You can listen to what kind of music is being used in the background. There's percussion cues. There's all kinds of music you can make. I just bought like this whole dabble of different percussion stuff just to start creating some fun, different styles of percussion cues. I'm not a drummer, I won't do some big drum cue, but I have, you can make a cue with the shaker, and a triangle. it's something as simple as that. And that, if it's something you're interested in, you can easily start turning out if you've already doing some home recording, to start doing those kinds of cues. All right. So you can study the TV shows to find out what kind of music is being used. TuneFind.com, it will give you the vocal songs for shows. Find episodes of shows on YouTube or DVR them, or when you watch them live, just start tuning into the music a little bit that you hear. If something interests you, make sure you write down the show or try to find the episode later so you can listen to that music behind it. And if that's something that you think that you can do down the line, something similar. Okay, so research shows in the music. Now I'm going to move on to the business side of things and the money part, which we're all interested in. So are there any questions about this stuff in particular, Bree, that you see that I should answer now or wait till later? I'll take that as a no. So just interrupt me if there are.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
But basically you answered most of them. So I'll hang on to any other ones that are a little more complex for later.
Okay. All right. The business side. Show me the money. That's what we want. We want to be able to make money from our music. So here's the thing, rates vary widely. Not only like sync fees, but with royalties as well. So I'm going to show you some basic sync fee ranges, and then we'll look at some real life royalties as well from BMI statements. So this is roughly like if you get a show on cable TV, depending on what it is, the sync fee could be as low as $150 to as high as $3,000. Now I've never seen a $3,000 cable TV sync fee. So it has to be something like really good and a really good channel. Because the better the channel, hopefully the more money that you would be able to get. So far I think the largest sync for a cable show that I've gotten is like 1,000 on that, and I have, and I'm sure some people they have a longer. You're using the song in a different way, something like that. Network TV, 1,000 to 5,000 roughly. Promos, where they're advertising like a CBS show or on the CW promos for fall promos for whatever's going on. 150 to about 1,000. I mean, I've typically seen usually around the 150 range for promos, which, you'd think like promos, they don't consider them advertisements, which is, I think, why they are less, like the way they're defined and everything. So indie films, 150 to 500, sometimes no sync fee, depending if they might have any budget at all. And I don't, advocate giving money, music away for free, but if you think it's going to be a good film and it's your first placement, you could ask to make sure you get a credit in the show at the end, and that they promote your music on their website or wherever they're promoting the film itself. But always ask for something. If they say they have no budget, it's like, well, can you swing $100 or $150 or whatever, depending on who they are, especially if it's somebody very new. If it's a bigger indie film, you might even be able to get more than 500 out of them, depending. So gigantic films should definitely be in the thousands of ranges, depending on how the song's used. Obviously, you could have a 30-second piece that's playing in somebody's truck that's barely heard in a film, and get a certain sync fee. So these ranges too are just estimates, by the way. And movie trailers in 2,000 to 20K, depending on the movie, and also depending who we are as well. The more popular artists are probably going to be able to bargain more money. But that's the other reason why they come to indie artists, because they can afford us more, and we make music that's just as good. So, and then TV ads anywhere from 3,000 to 100K. 100K, of course, if you're on the higher end of things there. All right. So let's look at some BMI statements here. So I had a Rain placement, placed on the CW's The Rain. It was the opening song, played for, I think, 47 seconds. And it was a vocal, and it was $1,000 sync, which then was split with the publisher and my co-writer. But the back end royalties were pretty low because, and that's the other thing, royalties themselves vary so much between the networks, the cables, the Netflix, Amazon Prime, all of that. It just shows pay differently even. It's crazy. MTV pays pretty nice. They don't do sync, so they pay nice back end. So you're going to see rates all over the place. I just want to show you a little bit what you're looking at here if you're not familiar with the BMI statement. So over here, we have this, I think I have a little pen I can mark with. Let's see. We have the show. There's the TV, the station, the show, and then the episode. Or sorry, this is the episode right here. Okay, this is the song, Devour Me. They assign a work number. It's a background vocal use, and the timing, when it aired, and then my percentage because I have a co-writer. Okay. And then the current activity. BMI pays a super usage. So if it played for over a minute, then I would have gotten an extra bonus there. So it was just under a minute, unfortunately. So it was like 28 bucks on the royalty side. So I got the nice sync, but then it was balanced with the royalty there. And it may be hard to see, and I apologize if these are. Now with Catfish MTV, let me get that little pen up here again. MTV plays pretty well, and I got a song on there. They used the instrumental for 21 seconds, and it paid $23. Okay, so if I get a background instrumental that played over a minute, then they would play excrementally. That wasn't even the right word. They pay a lot more. And then here's a bunch from, again, Catfish, MTV's Catfish, that added up to, that's, if you can't read it, it's $365. So imagine you just kept getting all these instrumental placements, and all of these are like around 30 seconds or under. And that just keeps adding up, you know, if you keep getting those placements there. This is another show on NBC Sportsnet called Mob Steel. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 instrumentals that were used, varying in seconds from 19 seconds to like a minute something. And that added up to 1,000. So you can see how things vary per network and show. Now I got a placement on Dance Moms. Now they didn't have an upfront sync, but their back end royalties were phenomenal. They were, $518 for this first airing. And then, you know, as soon as they move off the main network and they go circulate around, that goes down. But you know, that more than compensated for the fact that there was no upfront sync fee there. And that was my 50% because I had a co-writer. So that made it very well on back-end royalties with that. And then I got a placement on Young and the Restless. It was a background vocal. It was super background vocal. This actually says SBV at the top. My little pen thingy here. So super background vocal ran for 1 minute, 36 seconds. It was in a coffee shop scene. You could barely hear it, but it was there. And that was, and again, this is a 50% because I co-wrote it. That was like $194 in the background just for that airing there. So that can add up. You know, things can really add up over time, which is the point of, I really want to show you the reality of what these royalties look like. And the fact that everything varies and it does add up over time. So you increase your income by making music, pitching your music, getting placements, and then the combination of upfront sync fees as royalties starts to add up as you get these placements. Let's see. I try to create a blend of music really for placements. So I sign my music in various places to increase that chance. And when we talk about the music publisher section and all that stuff, I will kind of tell you my strategy with that. You can also go for ads. You know, there's no reason why you can't go for these higher bar 100K placements if you have access to that, because obviously that's going to have a higher pay rate and going to be more bang for your buck when you can do that. But not all of us have, you know, access, or the songs aren't picked for whatever reason. And so I try to create this blend of placements, which I'll talk more in the strategy area. Okay. So I talked about pitching. Well, where do you pitch your music? You know, how do you pitch it? How do you create your pitch lists? So there are several places where you can kind of pitch or sign your music. And this means that these people that you'll be sending your music to, they have a higher chance of getting you placements because they have connections with the production companies and music supervisors. So music libraries and production libraries. Then there's what I call music publisher, which is also in my world is also a music library, but they're kind of smaller, more kind of a boutique style library. There's your ad agencies, your licensing agencies, and A&R companies that you can pitch through. And we'll go through each one of these. And then there's music supervisors directly. So with music libraries, and when I mention music library, I'm talking about some of the stock libraries where the owners are also producing music. Some of them take unsolicited submissions, some don't. and some are very large. There's a lot of stock music. There's hundreds of thousands of songs. And there's no harm in sending music to these places if it's accepted. There's a lot of music. So that's why I kind of spread things around. And you can, by the way, you can find all of these places in lists like the Indie Bible. Any Music Connection has a paid list. We'll talk a little bit about the list because there was one that I bought I wasn't very happy with. But I'll kind of tell you how to find these and pitch your music. There's somebody I call the music publisher, and these people, they're signing your songs, not you. So you're still free to write and pitch music to whoever you want. I often call them kind of boutique publishers because they're run by like 3 or 4 people. But the people that are running them have all the connections. That's why I say with respect to film and TV, because then there's the different publisher that signs, the artist, and you get a upfront stipend or something to write music, the kind of typical Nashville kind of deal. And this is different. It's still kind of a library, but because I have a more personal relationship with them, they don't take every piece of music, and they are very selective with what they take, and they have relationships with the bigger networks and the bigger shows. Then I kind of call them the music publishers and boutique libraries. So I just said all this. Higher bar placements, smaller catalog, smaller staff, and you can usually build a personal relationship with them. So then there is the ad agency. And these are professional companies that are creating and managing ads for products. Sometimes you can contact the creatives that find music for ads. If you go to an ad agency, look for editors or creatives. Those are the people that you could potentially contact about ad music, and if you can send things in for the various types of ads that they do. But they're often leery of dealing directly with musicians because of ownership issues. So you have to make sure that you own 100% of your music, your master recording. Make sure you're getting any sign-offs from any co-writers, anyone that played on the song or sang on the song that you paid. You have to have your work for hire agreements. So there's, they don't want to get screwed over by going to sign a song, then finding out that somebody else actually has ownership on that, could lead to lawsuits. So they often do like to go to music supervisors, the ad agencies, or publishers, like the publishers I mentioned before, to get their music. Okay, then there's music supervisors and supervision companies. And these are all available on IMDb and Google searches. You can find all the music supervisors and supervision companies that you want. Actually, if you pay for a subscription to IMDb, I think you can get the supervisors' emails as well. But you can see what they're working on, what kind of shows they've done in the past, what they're working on now. It's great. And it's imdb.com. So they combine the music and visual media. They work directly with the show or the movie. And you can also meet supervisors directly at conferences. I recommend the Durango Songwriters Expo. I recommend going to the Taxi Rally. If you're a member, you get to go for free. If you're not a member, you can be a guest of a member and go for free. And not only at these conferences, not only can you learn a lot, you do have some chances to get mentoring and pitch your music directly. Then there's the licensing agent. That licensing agents usually will sign you, the artist, in an exclusive deal. There are some licensing agents that will do like per song basis or non-exclusively, but typically they're going to want to sign you. If they really like you and your music, they're going to want to sign you. So they're the only one that will represent you and your music. And that's great if you want to stay being a touring artist and you are mostly interested in creating and playing gigs, and you want somebody to just take it and run with it. Usually they're going to pitch to the higher paying shows, ads and films, and always get sync fees for you as well. All right. Let's talk about the elephant. I always call it the elephant in the room because you hear you should never have to pay to pitch your music, or these are pay and pray ways to go about things. But my whole success has been through Taxi and learning basically. And I'll tell you that what I think about all that. And I can't name some names, but so pay to pitch services, some of them are A&R like services that gather listings or searches that you can, pay a fee and submit your music to. Also, there are some music libraries now that are charging you a fee to submit your music, and then they split the money with you. I think that's like no good to do that. Well, I should have to pay to send my music to a music library, and then also split the money with them. I don't think so. Some do get a bad rap. You know, when you're looking at these services and what you really want, and you know, the ones I know of, there's Taxi, Broadjam, Hit License, Music X-Ray, Song Trader.
Actually, can you explain Taxi? Because someone's asking that, and you know, I guess not everybody knows who Taxi is.
I'm gonna explain that here in just a second. So, taximusic.com. Taxi is an A&R service, and what they do, so you pay a membership fee. I think it's $2.99 to join the first time, and it's $1.99 yearly. So with that membership fee, you get access to all of these listings they have on their website. And you can actually go to their website and look at what they have, what their listings are now. With your cost of membership, you get entrance into their conference every year for free. You have to pay for your hotel and your flight if you're not in LA. And it's Thursday, Friday, 3 days, really 4 days. Most people get there on Thursday because you get to sign up for mentors. You can sign up for mentors. They have all kinds of panels. They have all kinds of classes. I taught 2 classes at the last one. It is so freaking educational and eye-opening for Taxi Music when I went. And I go every year. And I've met so many people that I now co-write with. I met producers there that will produce my music if I can't produce it. And just the camaraderie that you get from it. So that's one aspect of it. These listings that they have, what they do is they have people that work for Taxi. They call them screeners. The screeners will work with the music supervisors, the ad agencies, and record labels to write these pitches, to write these listings. So the supervisor says, I'm looking for this type of song, for this type of film. These are the moods I want. This is what I want, whatever. So the screener writes it all out. Then you see the listing and you submit a song to the listing for $5. Now, the screeners will take all the songs they get and they will listen to them and make sure they fit that listing before sending it on to the music supervisor or whoever is the client. And some people don't like that. They don't like the gatekeepers. I like the gatekeepers because I know that not 10,000 songs are not going to the supervisor, and the supervisor is going to be like, I can't listen to all these and throw them away. So the screener, if they don't send your song forward, they give you feedback. I've had so much feedback on my music when I first joined, and that's what helped me to grow and change as a musician. They're like, you know, we really like the song, but your vocal isn't quite the indie quality it needs to. It needs to sound more like A, B, and C or whatever. Now, my voice is my voice, but what I did is I went and I listened to the indie artists they recommended. I listened to how they pronounced their words. I listened to how airy their vocals were, and I re-sang the song, and it got forwarded, and it got signed my best publisher yet. It gets me places all the time. He calls me for specific music. He's like, look, I'm looking for this. I think you'd be good at doing it. And I do it, and I send it to him, and I get placements. So with Taxi, and the reason, you know, some of these companies get bad raps is because people will take their 10-song CD that they didn't write for sync, and it might be great music, but maybe it doesn't fit those particular pitches, and it doesn't get set on. When it doesn't get sent, then they get pissed off and they leave Taxi and say it's a bunch of crap. You have to learn how to write music for sync. You have to submit and target these listings appropriately. You can't just take your pop song and submit it to every pop listing there is. It's a waste of money and time. You need to go to the conferences and learn. In fact, you can join Taxi and never submit a song and just go to the conference for the first few years and just for free. I mean, it's how many conferences are under 200, you know, under $300, I should say, not many. And learn and meet people and get a mentor and submit your music to the panels. You know, a lot of big industry people go there. When I went for the first 2 years, I was kind of writing more as an artist, and I met a bunch of people from Nashville and publishers and everything. So all those people are there too. So if you are more on the recording side, it's for that too. But you have to for that system. It's a system that you have to work. You just some of the other ones where it's just there's nobody on the back end. You're paying your $5, you're submitting your song, and then you don't know what happens. At least this way, I know what happens. I know what to improve. I know what to not improve. I know their clients are real because I meet those clients, those supervisors, and those publishers at the Taxi rally. So anyway, that's my spiel. And I'm actually Taxi also has a free Taxi TV on Monday nights. So you can find their Facebook page. I think it's like Taxi A&R. And their website's Taxi Music. They have a free Taxi TV Monday nights that's really educational, like each week. And you can sign up for that and just watch it before ever thinking about joining or doing it. But through them, I've met so many people that I don't have to submit to listings anymore because my songs got signed through those listings, and I've met other publishers at the rally, and now I've got this whole network of people I can send music to. Anyway, so with any of these services that are pay to pitch, where you're paying $5, $10, $20 to submit a song, you want to make sure you're targeting the listings. You want fairly decent submission fees. You don't want to nickel and dime yourself to death. You're hoping that the listings that you see are very detailed. Like there are some that are really vague. That it's just like, hey, we need like a rock track. Okay. And I can send you a rock track, but I don't know that it fits. So you kind of have to gauge that a little bit. I really like places that have forums or online networks where you can meet people. Taxi has one, is a community of free, and it's free. Their forum is free to join. So if you go to taximusic.com and find their forum, you can actually join that and see what's going on there. I think BroadJam has a forum too. Where you can meet, you need to meet and network people is the bottom line with all of these places. I like places where I can communicate with successful members, where I know that what they're doing is working and that they've had some success, which we all want to know if something's working. Is it having success? Yearly conferences are great where you can network. I mentioned the Taxi rally. I don't think the other places have one, but just for conferences' sake, Taxi rally, Sync Summit, Durango Expo are all good to go to. Be great to get feedback on your music at these places because feedback's going to help you, grow and make your music more sync ready. So that's kind of the pay to pitch model. And I'm always wary when I get information about a new one. So I like to kind of investigate and see if other people have been using it, what is behind their business model. And so I'll really ask around before deciding to use one of these companies. Does that hopefully explain Taxi? I'm very passionate about it, if you can tell. So hopefully that
that explains it. And I just want to interject too, like as far as these pay to pitch, Music X-Ray, like it's all about the quality of the people that are on there, and BroadJam. Right. And I'm obviously on both of those. And Michelle and I met because of Music X-Ray. So it's all about what you do with the relationship going forward. Right. It's not necessarily about the very first placement that you get.
And also I want to make music. Like it's like I do want to meet supervisors and network and go straight to the source. But if I can find services and places and publishers that are going to take the pitching part of it out for me, at least for a while, then I like that because it saves me time. Where I don't have, it's one extra thing I don't have to be doing. Now that's not to say that
you put in the upfront work, and then you don't have to spend all your time pitching later on,
Right. And, you can go meet music supervisors and everything, but it takes years of getting to know them. They get to know you, and trust you as a songwriter and an artist. Because again, the whole clearance thing, like I've met a ton of music supervisors. I've met the music supervisors that have placed my music, and they actually placed it through my publishers because they work with all the publishers, that I know. And so if they can go to a place where they know all the legalities have been taken care of, then why wouldn't they? All right. So speaking of that, let's talk about other ways to pitch your music. So again, we talked about networking and conferences. At Durango Expo, you get to have 5 minutes, three sessions, and you get 5 minutes to pitch music directly to supervisors, and you can do some networking there. So I do like their conferences. I think they have one in Colorado, not Durango, but like Boulder area, and then one in Ventura each year. I would definitely look them up and see if it's something that you can do if you've got some music ready, because then you can go right to the source and start collecting information and business cards and that kind of thing. You can also, find out who's supervising the shows or films that you think your music would work for. You can find it in the credits of the show. You can find it on IMDb. If you pay for a subscription for like a month or so, you could get their emails and send them music, but you have to be specific, love your show, blah, blah, blah. I really think this song would be great for this type of scene. If you have a chance, love it if you take a listen, and then you just paste a streaming link into the email. It's as simple as that. You don't need to send some big template saying, all your credits in the world, and just make it personal, to them when you're sending these emails. You can also do your research to make pitch lists. So Music Library Report is a good one. Indie Bible has a ton of stuff, but it's got a section on sync. Another one I saw, I don't know if it was Songwriter Universe, maybe. Some of these paid, there's a lot of free ones online. The free ones kind of don't have the greatest information. Like I'd rather pay, $20 or $30 to get at least a bit of a curated list that has some higher bar places to pitch my music than not. You can do Google searches, just music libraries, music publisher, royalty-free music, and you'll start to get a bunch of lists and information there. And then you just go to their sites, you see what their submission process is, and contact them to find out what their deals are. So if you're, what are their splits? In other words, like 50-50, 60-40, those kinds of things, non-exclusive, exclusive, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And just start building that list. And because you could start pitching right away if you've got music that you think is going to work. While you're learning the ropes of that. And the reason, I don't like free lists or lists that are cheap. I actually bought one from someone that was pretty cheap. It's supposed to be a music supervisor list. And I went through it and he got really mad because there were composers on there. So there are people I knew that were on this list, and I contacted them like, are you a supervisor now? No. And I would tell them what list it was on. And I'm not going to out this company, but I started going through it. I'm like, this is a lot of this is junk. It's just, they had composers on there. They had some supervision companies, but no direct supervisors. And it was supposed to be a music supervisor list. They had a lot of libraries on there, but libraries that weren't very decent ones or obscure ones that I'd be wary of. So it was kind of disappointing, which is why networking, when you go to these conferences too, they give you a sheet of who's there. And there's your pitch list. You've got the name and the company of the people that go to these conferences too. And I think on the Taxi website, they might still have some documents from the last one that you might be able to download. I don't know if you can download them for free if you're not a member, but you can always look through there and see which companies showed up last time. Anyway, so researching, you can definitely make your pitch list sooner rather than later. I mean, the most important thing is to craft your music appropriately. Go to conferences, learn, network, get peer reviews and critiques, have all your ducks in a row business-wise, which we'll talk about that in a minute. Never hand someone a demo and don't say, this isn't my best work, but because, people at these conferences, you need to present yourself as a professional. And we should know that, but you need to have your business cards. You need to at least have, a one-page website. If you don't, you need to have your elevator speech of what you are. Even if you're just starting it, you can still present yourself as a professional at these meetings. And a lot of times people don't have time to critique the work unless you're kind of paying them, because you can meet people and set up mentorships and listening sessions at some of these places too. But make sure you've got a CD with some professional sounding music on it to hand out there. All right. I have no idea what time it is. All right. Well, we're getting there. So we're almost done here. And we're to stay to the end so I can hand out the free checklist as well. So types of deals. Got exclusive deals and non-exclusive. So just quickly, exclusive means that It's going to be signed just to that library person, publisher, whoever it is, for whatever amount of time that they deem the deal is. Could be forever, could be 3 years, could be 1 year. After that, you can't pitch it anywhere else. After that deal, then you can either take it out or leave it. Non-exclusive means that you still retain all ownership of the song. And although that person will just get paid for their placements of your music, you can still pitch that music elsewhere because you still own all the rights to it. There's also buyout where you might get some upfront money for a song. Usually that ends up being exclusive. You still get royalties on the back end. We talked about royalty free a little bit with like the weddings and the business DVDs and the online web ads, direct blanket licensing deals. I try to stay away from those. A lot of libraries or publishers are doing these blanket deals and the writer ends up not getting anything, which is like dumb. So anyone I see that has those deals, I kind of question and might stay away from. All right. So summary, building an income. Royalties are usually continuously earn you money every time it airs. Depends on the deal and the network. Sync fees, you can get upfront licensing fees. You can get money from royalty free. Everything varies by show, network, use. You can get money through buyout deals, digital downloads or streams by people who like your song. And you want to try to license songs in many shows to make it pay off. It does all add up over time. So how long does it take to build a sustainable income? Well, like any business, if you're looking at this as a music business, will take roughly like 5 years to build a business. Okay, like any business that you start. You need to build up your catalog and you can start pitching right away. And who knows, you could land like a super huge placement and make the money you want to make in one placement. Learn to craft your songs appropriately and properly network and have your business organized. So you want to keep pitching and getting placements. It can take about 9 months to see money from one placement. So that's why it's like you got to keep doing this. We have a saying, write, submit, forget, repeat, and just keep over and over and over again making music, pitching it. It will get signed over time. It will get placements. And then by the time, like through all the processing, it just takes 9 months before you see the money. So you want to keep doing this so it builds up. You need a continual stream of placements to keep seeing a regular income. Now the aim typically, and this is, if you want to make this like a part-time to full-time thing, the aim is usually 50 to 80 songs, cues, or instrumentals per year. So where am I? So my sync royalty money went from like $5 to over $10,000 within those 4 years there, and is increasing as we go. The more placements I get, the more royalty streams it goes up. It can go up and down each year depending on what's been placed and what sync fees I'm getting. And like every business, you're struggling with. In the music business, we know is always struggling for money, and they try to get give you the cheapest rate they can possibly give you. But I luckily have good people working my songs. From 2014 to 2017, I made about $15,000 from royalty-free placements. These weren't the broadcast royalty-free; they were the business-to-business and the weddings and all that stuff. And if you Google like royalty-free music, some of those sites will come up. There's like Pond 5, Audio Sparks. Those are some of them there. And there's a bunch of others as well. Where can you be? Well, you can be anywhere from $5 to $100,000. I have people that they just want 1 or 2 placements and they'll be happy like forever. And then I have other people that are trying to build a significant income with this side of their business. And they're starting to get there. So, you can have a couple placements or supplement your income part-time to full-time. It's all about, again, building your catalog, crafting the songs, networking, pitching, and commitment for sure. So how do you get there? Well, there are no shortcuts except for this webinar and some of the classes that I offer, because that is my aim. I didn't start, it took me like 2 or 3 years to kind of learn all this stuff before I really started to get the swing of things. And I don't want that for you. I want everybody to start learning this stuff quickly and get there. So basically learn and apply, learn, apply, learn, apply is how you should be doing this. Organize your business and make goals. So some good reads, War of the Art and Do the Work and Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. Very good books. I do a workshop at Taxi based on Turning Pro. and which always gets good attendance. I have some YouTube vlogs, video blogs that are motivational on my YouTube channel, which I think is Michelle Lockey Music, that talk about overcoming success robbing obstacles. And I did an interview with Taxi on their YouTube page too, talking about that very thing, because I had a lot of that in me. I didn't think this is something I could ever do. You know, I didn't play any instruments really. I mean, piano some until like 2007. I didn't really delve into much singing until then because I was too shy, and just, Bree actually has on her podcast, my interview with all that stuff. So if you're one of those people that you just think you can't do it, you can. So, you know, to get what we've never had, we must do what we've never done. And this is a quote from the 212, The Extra Degree. It was a really great little booklet. And I wholeheartedly believe that. So if you guys want to learn more, I do have a licensing course bundle that's kind of launching at the end of the month. I have a self-paced course called 10 Steps to Sync Success, and then a Turning Pro, which is the 90-day challenge to focus your music sync business. And either one of these you can do if you're a beginner or if you've already started and just need a kick in the pants, which is what the 90-day challenge does. And they can be taken together whenever you have time. Plus, there's a summer Q&A series that I do for my students. So what the course includes, the 10 steps course includes like over 10 hours of material, and it also includes the 90-day challenge material. We are going to meet twice a month in these live virtual meetings. There's recorded expert interviews from soups and artists, and usually I try to get a few live ones if I can. I'm trying to get in contact with a couple of people sometime in the next few months. So I offer that for my students. There's homework that you can do for the self-paced class, and the 90-day challenge. I'll talk about a little bit more about that in a minute here, but I give you some templates to keep track of your catalog, templates for contracts. You get private access to our Facebook groups and skills lists to keep track of what you should be learning. So in the 10 steps course, we've got how to craft your lyrics and music for film and TV, how to appropriately contact and network with music supervisors and publishers. We'll talk more in depth about the types of deals so that you kind of really understand what you're looking at before you go and sign contracts, how and where to pitch your music. And this is very important, how to properly tag your files with metadata and prepare them for pitching. We didn't really talk much about metadata, but this helps the publishers, the music supervisors really sort through your music. And that is just a really big thing too. Now, the 90-day challenge, what we're going to do in that, and that's going to be kind of really a push. So while you're going through the licensing materials, we're going to create a 5-year plan. We'll also create a 1-year goal from that, so you have something to work on right away. You're going to organize your song catalog. So whether you have 250 songs or one song, you need to start learning how to organize your song catalog so it's easier to be able to pitch and keep track of what you're doing. You're going to create your pitch list and pitch music if you have it. If you don't have it, we're going to have some song challenges along the way so you can start writing that music. I just had 2 students, not 2, I mean more than 2, but recent students. They took the class, they followed the advice, they crafted a song, they submitted it to Taxi, got forwarded. Now she's signed with the one publisher that I was talking about that gets me really good placements, just like that. And another one I found out just did a song for one of our challenges, and that got sent on through Taxi. So I told her, I gave her some places to pitch that separately, so hopefully that'll get signed too. In the Turning Pro class, we're also going to help you prepare for conferences and make sure that you've got all the appropriate stuff that you need before you go to a conference. And we're going to help you arrange co-writes, or how to arrange co-writes and find producers that aren't going to, kill your budget. And like I said, we also have some song challenges as we go through. And that really means, okay, here's the theme, this week. And they don't have to be produced songs. It's like, write a song for this theme, or maybe I'll post a listing that I find, and write a song for this listing, so you guys get practice doing that. So it's kind of like learn and apply that whole thing, and some motivational stuff there too. We're going to learn the mentality that can keep you stuck and how to avoid that and break through that. And like I said, make sure you have all the business tools to be seen as a professional. Also eliminate any unnecessary tasks so you can focus on sync licensing. And I just got a really good book for that I'm hoping to finish reading before class starts. So I can, if it's good, I'll recommend it to you guys too. All right. Now you get lifetime access to all your materials. So they'll always be there. So you can take them when you want. You can come back a year from now, 2 years from now, and get back in there and review anything that you need to review. And you always have access to the summer Q&A sessions that I have. I usually have 3 over the summer. And that was a picture of my Licensing Songs Academy. So that combined, the list price for that is like $894 roughly. And we're giving it to you guys for only $247. So it's like a ton of material for a very, 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 very low price. So by the time, you go, let's say you're going to go to a conference, you got to buy your plane ticket, you got to get your hotel, you got to pay for food, plus the conference fee, and you're going to have like no money left. So I would rather you learn what's happening, really concentrate and focus your business. And then when you're able to go to a conference, and this is like way less than any conference that I go to. Now for today, I've got 10, if you're one of the first 10 people that sign up, you'll also get an hour consult and 3-song review. So what I do is I review 3 of your songs, we talk about your goals, and I come up with like a 5-point action plan for you that I write out. And then you also get my ebook, Sync Success, Understanding Music Licensing. So that's for the first 10 people today. Just a couple testimonials from my students, Kim Creddick. I don't like talking about myself, but a gifted teacher who sincerely cares about getting her students to reach their goals. She's organized and offers many tools to help songwriters. And you can read all these too on my website, my Licensing Songs website and Michelle Lockey website. And then Kim, Michelle's opened up my limited view of music business to a whole nother level. Now I'm pitching and building a great catalog comprised mostly of cues. I never thought cues would be part of my agenda, but it is. I'm very grateful for a new view. And we don't just talk about cues, we talk, all music for that. But that was a new thing for her, and she's cranking them out. So she's getting royalties and got some placements too, which is cool. So again, all of that, 10 steps to sync success, the Turning Pro, and the summer Q&A, excuse me, is only $247, which is about $647 off. You can go to femusician.com/full-pay, and I think on the site there, some buttons should be coming up. And while we're looking at this, I can answer any more questions that we might have.
Yeah, and I just want to interject. First of all, if you scroll below the chat, the buttons should have popped up for you. If you've been here for 60 minutes, those have popped up, and there is a full pay and a payment plan option. But I just wanted to say about the critique, the 1 hour that you spend with them for the first 10 people. Mm-hmm. This is so valuable, you guys. This is worth the price of the course. Somebody that's doing what you want to do and is able to give you specific advice. But I want to ask you, Michelle, like, what do you think the differences between the people that have in the past gotten this 1 hour and gotten the extra help and all that, and the people that didn't? Have you seen like a huge difference in their success, not only in completing the course, but in getting placements?
Well, yeah, they, and you can look at some of the testimonials as well. I mean, they're writing songs, they're making connections, they're signing deals. I haven't heard of any huge placements yet, but that takes time. I mean, Kim, she's earning royalties, and she just got a placement through Crucial Music, I'm pretty sure. And I forget what show that was in as well. And they're meeting other people too. So then now they're out there and networking. So, one thing about this too is it does take time, and it takes the music to go and get these placements. And sometimes you're not going to see that till, or at least the royalties, till a year or so after you started. But they're very happy. They're more organized and focused. I've had people come back and take the course again. Not just access to it, but they wanted to be part of, the 90-day challenge again and get on with the live calls and the summer Q&A, because they find it continually motivational and educational as well, and has moved them forward. So, and some of the stories that I've kind of heard behind it just help them motivationally and become unstuck and and find something to move forward to and not feel like, you know, the music is a dead end. If that makes sense.
Totally, totally. So people are asking in the chat how to enroll. So go to femmusician.com/full-pay or femmusician.com/pay-plan to enroll. And the first 10 get this hour critique and help and, you know, just personalization, which I think is so important. So they will fill up, I promise you. From previous times doing this workshop, we've had like, usually sometimes we give away 15 and they fill up fast. So 10 is not a lot. So if you want this, I would go grab it right now. Just go to that link, and you're going to be going to her Teachable School. That's where she houses her Licensing Songs Academy. So you're going to have to create a login for that, unless of course you're already part of someone else's Teachable School, like for example mine. Yeah. And you probably should have a Teachable login already. Then you can just go ahead and log in with that and then join her course. Just hit enroll and you're all set up. So you're definitely going to want to do that ASAP while we're on live with the Q&A, because if you want those first 10. And someone did ask, how long is this available? It's going to be available through this coming Monday night, so the 15th. So if you're not concerned about the 1 hour critique, which I think you should be, but if you're not, then you can wait and you can enroll all the way up through Monday night. She'll be taking students for this challenge that's going to be starting. So you get the course, you get all the stuff, extra stuff she's talking about, plus you get this challenge, which to me is so important, because it really keeps you accountable to actually getting this stuff done, instead of just getting a course and kind of doing it whenever you want. And then sometimes it falls to the bottom of your to-do list. So you've got someone prodding you, come on, come back, keep thinking about this. I know you want this, you know? So that's why I think the challenge is super, super important and helpful.
So I'm just looking at the chat. And I posted the links in the chat too, just in case something cool happened. So Terry asked, wait, is it Terry? Yes. Please talk about what a cue is. So early in the talk, we talked about instrumentals, because a lot of times in shows, instrumentals are used because they don't really interfere with what's going on in the dialogue. And so a cue is a specifically crafted instrumental that is shorter. It's usually like one mood and a certain type of instrumentation. And if you go to any reality show, watch any reality TV, listen to the music in the background, and those are cues. Sometimes you'll just hear these little like plucks of, they're actually stringed instruments, pizzicato strings. Those are called dramedy cues. And they might be quirky, they might be serious. Like if you watch, actually I've got a list like The Conjuring or Ghost Hunters International.
Those are good examples.
Horror Story, yeah, they've got instrumentals and cues on there. Because I have a whole thing of like cue listings posted on my board here. Some are looking for, like there's an Activia commercial that has a lot of percussion in it. Now that's, you know, more of a longer instrumental, but it's still kind of a cue because you're crafting this song. This is short instrumentals is what I usually say. So hopefully.
Okay, so there's a couple people in the chat saying that they already bought and paid, and I just want to make sure that that's working on your end, Michelle, because I haven't seen anything yet. But sometimes Teachable's a little slow.
Yeah, I see stuff coming in from the Stripe, which is what the credit cards go through. I don't know what's up with the Academy parts, but let's see here.
Sometimes they're about like 3 minutes behind.
Yeah, I have CM Wentworth, who got the course, and I have, maybe that was Carly Goodfellow, and I have, yes, it's only giving me like emails.
Yeah, I hate that.
Blue Evan, and I have Annex, and I have.
I hear I see Carlene said that she signed up.
Laura.
Oh, awesome. Laura, that's going to be great.
Carlene, yeah, I see Carlene. And B.H. Parker. Yeah, they're coming in like slowly on my email, so it's kind of annoying. Okay, somebody said I might have enough time to answer questions. So what questions have we seen back in here that I need to?
Okay, I have been keeping track of them. So instead of you trying to scroll up Okay, and some people, you know, we may have covered this a little bit in the presentation, but they came late or something, so I want to make sure that they get answered. So,
Yeah.
so the first one was, can we use music we've already written and recorded?
Yes, you can. I mean, it may not be the best fit, but it may be good enough that it's going to fit something. So in those cases, if you don't want to go through some place like Taxi, then I would recommend researching a few music libraries and try to submit them there, or look for some licensing agencies, like especially if you're an artist, like was it Riptide, Secret Road. What are some other licensing? I don't do licensing agent stuff because I like to keep control of my catalog, so I don't often go to a lot of that. But I'll Google that, or I'll go to Music Library Report, and a lot of times they have like a 50% off sale, and then I pick the top 10 libraries of the week. Crucial Music is a big one that is non-exclusive, and they get good placement, so you can submit music to them. And I can't give out like all my contacts because my publishers get mad because they want people to, you know, that have good music to
yeah, they need
to
vet. I mean, that's the whole point of publishers.
But Crucial's an online, like you can create an account with Crucial and then you can go through their submission process. They take a while to look at things and they don't accept everything, but you can definitely read about them and submit some music that way. So yeah, I mean, just because you don't want to throw away any music you've done, you know, I mean, I have people that have recorded stuff in the early 2000s, and they're just busy kind of getting the all the contracts signed to make sure they have ownership, and they're going to start pitching them because they've got pretty good reviews. And you go to
in fact, one person was saying they just got the rights back from the record label. I think that was Laura. And so, yeah, now she's going to be free to pitch all that stuff, which will be awesome. So people are asking if they got into the top 10, like Corinna, because I still can't see on my end any of these. So
okay, let me.
Usually it's so fast. I think there's some kind of delay on Teachable's end.
Yeah, I was just going to get into Teachable on my other computer so I can read it from there, because I'm getting notifications, but the way they're coming in is like weird.
Email addresses, I know.
Somebody just asked a question that I saw, and I was
going to about the what is the one? Well, someone was asking what the 1 hour mentoring session with you is exactly. I think maybe they missed that part.
So what I do is I have you send me 3 songs, and I'll preview them ahead of time. Then we'll get on together on a live webinar call, and we'll talk about your songs, review them. Then we'll talk about your goals with Sync. I'll answer any questions that you have, and I'll write out I write out this whole form that has your song review, and then it has notes that we talked about, and it has a strategy session for you. So it's part strategy session as well. So I write 5 to 10 action items that you should take. And that's been really helpful to people. So you get this whole little report with that too. Awesome. I know I was Googling for Durango Songwriters Expo. I just copied that link in the chat. That's a good one to go to if you want to start pitching directly. All right, let me see.
Yeah, because there's people in here that are like signed in as guest, blah, blah, blah. And they're saying, I signed up as, this name. And so they're just wanting to make sure.
Let me see here.
I'm so excited for you guys, by the way. I mean, like I said, I've brought Michelle like probably 100 students over the last 2 years, and I've heard nothing but good things from them. So.
All right, here we go. I think today's the 11th, right? Yes. I'm just making sure.
Today is the 11th.
I'm like so lost in time still, like after the holidays. I don't know what's wrong.
I know.
Okay. So I have Carlene, I have Carly, I have Yvonne, I have Corinna, I have Laura, I have Pamela, I have Barbara, I have Sheila. So that is
8. That is 8
all right
so far.
Yep. 1.
So jump in if you want to grab that.
4, 5, 6.
That was my counting ability. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, that was right. So,
okay,
all
cool.
right, what are the questions? Let's see.
Okay, I've got, well, someone was asking about cover songs, if you can use cover songs in licensing.
Yeah, that depends. It's like, first thing is you have to make sure that they're going to be easily licensable. You can look at places like Easy Clear, Harry Fox. Now, usually the production company supervisor or publisher will try to clear that for you, but you can use cover songs, just not every cover song. Like I'll see listings wanting covers. Like we did a unique cover for God Bless America, for instance. And I did it in a very different way, and it got sent on to supposedly be considered.
They should have chosen that one. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know. And
awesome.
I don't even know what movie it was for, but it was some big blockbuster apocalyptic movie, which has one come out. I don't know. Anyway, but so as far as I know, they haven't used it. I've done a Sweet Child of Mine cover because they were looking for 80s rock covers, and a Bruce Springsteen one. Both of those are signed to publishers. They haven't been used yet. Those they might have a hard time getting a good clearance for, because the publishers of those songs are going to want probably a lot of money. What else have I done? So the bottom line is, and movie trailers supposedly are using very unique covers of certain songs. So it's about finding what's easily clearable through like Henry Fox or easy song licensing or something like that, to see if you can get a sync license. You don't have to pay for it yourself unless you're going to release it on an album or something. But yeah, and they're fun. They're fun to reimagine covers,
and they're not very expensive. Even if you want to clear it for your own use on your own album, it's not that expensive.
Let's see.
Or the mechanical.
Sorry, I was just going up. Tracy had a question regarding Reverb Nation, E Minor Company. They have offered Tivoli exclusive pitching, but they take a large percentage. So you're just talking about the Reverb Nation in general, and like all the opportunities they have through Reverb Nation. Tivoli exclusive pitching. What kind of percentage do they take? Yeah, I don't like to see any more than a 50%. I mean, and most publishers are going to take like 50%. Licensing agents will take anywhere like 30% of the sync fee, something like that.
Okay, so let me go through these questions here. So, is there a site for listing instrumental cues from your catalog? I'm assuming it would be certain music libraries that might specialize in that.
Are you talking about the listings or just for submitting cues? Must be for submitting cues.
I'm assuming it's submitting, because you don't get to list until they're accepted.
Right.
Unless they're, I mean, you can do something like Audio Sparks, where you put up your own stuff, and then you promote it as instrumental cues.
Yeah, it depends if you're meaning you want to get them signed, or you just want a place for people to find them. I mean, there are libraries like Jingle Punks, Audio Sparks, places like that you can submit music, but they don't always accept it. So there are tons of, and I just usually Google, like, you can probably see my screen, I don't know, music libraries is what I will Google sometimes, and you'll get a whole like list of them. And then you just have to go and you have to look, what's their submission process? Are they non-exclusive? Are they exclusive? What's the percentage that they take? And if they take submissions online, they just submit your music. So, I'm just looking at this Google thing I did. Some of them are legitimate. Some of them, are kind of.
I think that's where it really helps to have someone like Michelle, because there's so many out there that are not legitimate, and you don't want to waste your time on that, your money, all that. And she's vetted a lot of them already. So, so do you do your own vocals or hire someone? And I kind of said in the chat, you do both, depending on the song, right?
Yeah, I mean, I try to do stuff that I'm going to be able to sing, or I co-write with someone who's going to sing it, so that if it's a song that I hear male vocal on, then I usually am collaborating with a person who's also a writer and a vocalist, and they'll sing the song. And then I also partner the same people that can also sing. A lot of times can also produce. So it's a win-win, because we're writing the song together, they're going to produce it, and I get to save money, and then we determine what our splits are going to be. So both. Yep. Okay.
Now this question, I'm pretty sure this might be from someone that I was talking to on chat the other day, but she says, do you think signing a publishing administration deal would conflict with licensing opportunities? I'd like to release
Yes.
music independently, you know, but I want to keep my music clear and make sure that I'm legal on all sides.
Yeah. So you can distribute your music. There's no problem with that, but do not sign the publishing administration deals that come with some of these distribution
Like
companies.
CD Baby, or does
And TuneCore has it too. Yeah,
Okay.
just don't, because they will then register your songs with your PRO and then list them as the publishers. So then you can't sign them to any other music library or any other music publisher. You could get a placement direct through Music Supervisor, but then they're listed as the publisher. So even though it's not exclusive, it just doesn't make sense because now there's another level of clearance or something. And I don't know that the amount of money that they're bringing in for people is a lot. So just distribute your music, but don't sign the publishing administration part. So with CD Baby, you just don't do CD Baby Pro. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't care and all you want to do is make music and release it and play out and whatever, then that's fine. But yeah, just you want to keep.
But keep in mind, you may want to do that later. I mean,
right.
Can you get out of it if you've already checked that box at some point?
Yes, you can. Yep.
Okay.
So we have Alice and Bridget and Maya and Mama Studio, love it, and Chiara that have signed up. All right.
Okay, so we've hit that 10. So what do you want to do for the people that are beyond the 10?
Well, if you do want to still sign up, be willing to do like a 20-minute strategy session with you on the phone. So we'll just talk, quickly about your goals, and I can give you some pointers and whatnot. If that still sounds good to you, we can do that.
So it's so useful, I'm telling you. Yeah. And you can do it before, you don't have to do it before the course, right? You can do it after.
No, you can do it whenever. Okay. I like people to kind of go through some of the material first and then start scheduling, because then it just helps if there are questions, that come up. So.
Cool. So you guys can still get that. And that's only available live on the workshop, by the way. So if any of you are watching this on the replay, like obviously the 10 spots are full, but if you would like to get that 20-minute strategy call, you can still get that as long as you sign up while we're still live here and answering questions. So just the femmusician.com/full pay and femmusician.com/pay plan are the options there.
Are there other questions I didn't get a chance
there to are. I still have a list here.
Okay, good. I'm fine.
Good. Okay. Let's see. So most publishers do not accept unsolicited material. How do you get around that? How do you find people that that do accept that?
There are some that do and some that don't. So a lot of times I've met people at conferences or I've been introduced to another songwriter, and then I get permission from them to submit music. If you see some online and they say no unsolicited submissions, but they have an email address, just email them and ask them if you can send a couple songs for their review. There's no harm in doing that. The other thing is, through the taxi listings have helped me too, because I know that if it gets forwarded, you don't always get contacted, but if I get contacted, then I know I have that direct in there. So any research you do, if you find some place that they don't take unsolicited submissions, there's no harm in emailing them or even calling and just asking if you can send a couple streamable links. They don't like MP3s attached to the email to send for their review, because you would really like to work with them or something like that. I mean, that's how I get around it most of the time.
I think too, I mean, the way to get around it is networking. The more people that you work with and the more like co-writers that you have, they'll have ins with different publishers than you do.
Yep.
Okay, so look, someone's asking about looking for genre-specific publishers or libraries. Like, for example, she does kids music. Do people specialize?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I haven't seen many that specialize just in certain things. I'm trying to think. Some specialize. I mean, there's some that specialize in trailer music or something like that. But if you've got some good kids music, I mean, Crucial and some of those places might be good just for submitting it, because they'll take one of my biggest money makers has been a song called Everybody Smile. Everybody smile, 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 everybody laugh. It's just a very simple ukulele, kids friendly song. And the money that I earned from that was just from a royalty free library, like Audio
Mm.
Spark. You know,
Mm.
it's just the money just keeps coming in because everybody loves that song. So
Well,
I
yeah,
think
and more people will
any
take. I mean, I've had that
publisher,
too. Like one song, and then like 10 people want to license it for totally different reasons. You
you
know.
know what I would also look for? Any kids show, find the credits and find out who is making the show and who the supervisor is. And you can do that either by like looking the show up online, looking for the credits, or going to IMDb and finding the show. They're most likely they're going to list the production company. A lot of times in the credits, if the music was supplied through a library, they list the library in the credits of those shows. So there's, you know, I've done that before. I've watched a show and I have a DVR and I've been like, pause. And there's like, there's the library that comes up and I write, write their information down. So
super smart.
yeah. And so that's what I would do for the kids shows. I don't know any offhand that are just kids music. Just trying to think if I could contact a friend that might know really quickly, but I don't think so.
Okay, well, let's jump into
if I can
this
get it.
question. So this is
Yeah.
about listing your songs on BMI and ASCAP.
Yep.
Do you list them separately if you have like the main, the vocal version and the instrumental version? And how do you list them with that?
No, you don't. You don't list them separate. You just register the main song because the name's going to be the same.
Okay, so you don't have a different like IRC number and all that.
No. The only reason no, I don't ever do that unless I repurpose it for something else, and then I might give it a different name, right, and use it for something else, but not for the main song.
Okay. Let me just run this one real quick. Is it more complicated if you're not in the US? Because I think we had some people saying like, oh, it seems like this is a lot for the US. And I kind of said I've met people in taxi from everywhere.
Oh yeah, there's people from, I co-write and with somebody from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gotten placements. And so I've co-written people from England, I've co-written people from Canada. So it's not US centric like at all. In fact, well, the getting in with some of the international, we call it international for you guys, it's local shows there, that can be big royalty money as well. Mm-hmm. And again, it's finding out what libraries, some are international, but a lot of the libraries here, they place in international shows, they place in US shows. You can pitch the same people that I pitched to and that, Taxi has listings for, and any of those. So it's very global, especially the songwriting part of it and producing and meeting people and networking. There's one publisher guy I know that's in Australia. I don't think he's doing the publishing part anymore, but he was at some point, and it signed some of my songs. It was kind of the reverse thing, right? I signed with an Australian publisher, actually, and I have several movie trailer songs with an Australian publisher as well. So it's like it goes both ways. It doesn't matter where you live, which is the great thing about this business. And you don't even have to live in New York, LA, or any of those areas. I'm in Maryland. I'm like 20 miles north of DC. And, DC is a political area, not necessarily a full-on music area. So I was just looking at something about the kids thing. Like I just Googled music publishing companies for kids. Something came up, but I want to see if this is actually a publishing company or so My Three Kids Music. We are
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, we are a full-service publishing company with worldwide contacts in the recording industry, music, and television. We hope you'll find the song you need for your project. That might be a one to look up then. See,
I think I've actually talked to that guy. Yeah, he sounds familiar.
Google's your friend. Sure. Every time I think of something like, let me Google something usually comes up, and I actually do build a lot of lists that way too. I just put the address in the chat.
Cool. Do we have any more people that got the strategy session? I'm so frustrated with Teachable because I'm not seeing a thing over here.
Well, I hope the affiliate thing should have worked, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. I forget the last name I mentioned. Maya, Teresa, Chiara, Jean. I think it's Jean. Susan. It's another one too.
Awesome. So excited for you guys. So what is your thoughts on songwriters market guides?
Is that an actual company, or are you like asked?
No, it's like those guides, and I'm not even sure that you focus on this because I think they're more for people that are trying to write songs for other artists. But like those, there's always those market guides for anything that you want to do. That like it's kind of like the indie Bible, but for songwriters, markets, getting your songs out to publishers and stuff.
I see them on Amazon. Songwriting Market 2016. Where and how to market your song. Songwriting Market Guide to
You were
Song
the fastest at looking stuff up. I'm impressed.
So I just sit there and I'm like, okay, wait, let me find out. If I don't know, I'll look it up. You know, anything educational like that. The only if they have lists and they like promise you like licensing leads, that bothers me because licensing leads to me are and what I've seen people say licensing leads, they give you a list of these smaller libraries and places, and some might be fine, but then you have to go look and see what their submission process is, and then that doesn't guarantee you like a placement. So I do have some lists for my students because I've given them the lecture on don't contact anybody unless you've got a song for them. Because some people will just, as soon as you give them a list, they contact all these places and bug the crap out of people, and then I get in trouble because they're like, "Where'd you get that name from, Michelle?" And then I get a phone call. So that's why I don't give out things until we talk a little bit and go through some stuff and get the Facebook group, get some trust going on. I haven't seen the Songwriters Market stuff before. I'm just kind of looking at it now to see what kind of reviews it's getting and what they have. Song and demo submission formats, because I don't see one for film and TV. I'll tell you what, though, if you guys don't have Robin Frederick's Songwriting for Film and TV book, you should get it. It's got a lot of really awesome material in it. I'll post the link in the chat because I'm looking it up.
Yeah, there's always a question about that book every time we do this because it's a popular book. So someone's asking about like when they're looking for instrumental cues or vocal cues, like do they ask you to kind of cut up your song and provide it in like 30-second segments or 1-minute segments? And how do you do that? Like, do you just use GarageBand?
Yeah, I mean, some places want that. They want, all these different edits. So what I do, if I create an instrumental, and these aren't like my songs, like if I create a full song with vocals and I take the vocals out and I end up signing it to a place that wants those, then I have to import it into GarageBand or something and try to find some good edit spots. If I'm crafting a cue, though, I will try to make what they call edit points at 30 seconds, at 60 seconds, so it's easy to cut up. That makes sense.
Right. And you're usually crafting that from scratch, not taking something you already have.
Right. And I have taken things I've had before. It's harder that way. You're like, is this going to end? Because you have to make sure it ends. Like some people will take their current songs, the instrumental part, and if they can't find a clean ending, they'll add like a drum beat or something like that in there to give it kind of this nice tight ending or something like that. So I don't do a whole lot of that with my existing songs, but I do that with cues moving forward. So
okay. And then the last question is super specific, and I don't know if you know the answer, but she wants to basically write her own lyrics to a popular song, and she's taking an English song and putting it in Spanish, and she wants to know, does she have to get permission from the publisher to create new lyrics for that song and put it out?
Yes, I believe that you do because it's their melody.
Right. I think you do too, because they don't want you to like defame it with some weird or terrible lyrics.
Yeah, you definitely have to get permission, and might even have to buy a license or do a kind of like a co-writing thing, be listed as a co-writer or something like that. So yeah, you do.
Okay, so I was just going to say, last call, you guys, if you have any more questions. I got to the end of my list that I took down during the chat. If you have any last questions before we finish this up.
And somebody just asked about the mastering. I do a little mastering on mine. Some people say they don't have to be mastered, but I'll put a little volume on there and maybe a little, reverb to tighten things up just to make sure. Some people do professional mastering on some of our songs, but on my own productions that I do, I don't do like a super amount of mastering, but just a little bit just to give it
I think leveling is important, and
shine.
make sure that you're like, look at your waveform and make sure that it's big and not tiny. You know, you need your volume to be at a decent level compared to other things.
Yeah. And somebody just asked about a publisher that contacted them, Broadjam. It means that he wants to sign your songs. So just own the music, and you just have to look if it's exclusive or non-exclusive. So most, if it's a non-exclusive agreement, then you still own the rights of your song and can pitch it anywhere else you want to pitch it. So, and any publisher that you sign a song to is going to take a cut. They're going to take the publisher's cut. And I think they deserve that because they have the connections. They should make some money for what they're doing.
Agreed.
So I don't think it's a bad thing to give up your publishing for that. And then it's only on the placements they get. So if it's a non-exclusive agreement, they only get that percentage on what they place, and then you can go pitch it elsewhere. But anyway, as long as they don't want you to sign some crazy amount of money over or anything like that, and if it's non-exclusive, then I don't think there's any reason not to do it.
Cool. Okay. So you're getting a lot of great feedback here. Thank you so much. So there's a question from my friend Megan Carey. I got to shout her out because I just interviewed her on the podcast a little bit ago. She's awesome. But Michelle, you might want to read it. It's just kind of long.
Which one? That's the one.
From Megan Carey. Oh, that's okay. I didn't even get to that yet.
That's what I just answered.
Awesome. Cool. And then someone else is asking about, does solo piano, does that work well for licensing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. Short answer.
No, I think, and I'm not sure. I'm assuming she meant solo piano as instrumental, but even just a solo, like a vocal with a piano, I think does well too.
Either one.
But I think instrumentals are just awesome for licensing.
Yeah. So anyone who signed up for the one-on-ones, I'll be sending out information on how to schedule those and that kind of thing. So you guys don't have to worry about
and I
that.
think you're going to want to probably wait till you've gone through a little bit of the course so you can, kind of talk intelligently.
You don't have to if you don't want to, but
yeah, I mean, it's up to you, but that's kind of my recommendation.
And for those of you who did sign up, just make sure you bookmark licensing-songs.com because that's where you're going to log in to start your courses. And when this is over, I'll make sure everybody's added into the 10 steps course. So you can start that like right away. And then the 90-day challenge is going to start towards the end of January. Oh, and I forgot. I
just remembered that too.
The link to the checklist. I know we're like talking for like 2 hours here. Here we go. So if you're still on the chat, here's the it's a Dropbox link, so you can just download the 10 steps to Sync Success checklist that I have there. So, all right, excellent, guys.
And does the length of the song matter? That was a quick question someone had, and I don't think that it does.
3 minutes and 30 seconds is 3 to 3 minutes 30 seconds is a sweet spot. So.
Yeah, agreed. But I mean, you can have a longer song and it can work, and they can use a portion of it.
Right.
Because a lot of times they're not using the whole thing.
Right. Yep.
Awesome. So I'm glad. Oh, Jennifer, I'm so glad you made it here. We're having a conversation about your bad connection. So it's been really, really great to have all of you guys here. I've had so much fun, and I know you guys have gotten a ton out of it. I want to go back and
I guess I just stop share.
Yeah, I'm going to make you not to the presenter so we can actually say hi to people. Let's see what happens. Stop presenting. There we go. So let's see. Can we see? Yay! I can see myself.
Yeah.
So it's been super fun hanging out with you guys. Thank you guys for being so interactive on the chat. It's just been awesome. So any last words, Michelle?
No, just I'm glad you guys signed up, and it'll be really informative. I'll kick your all's asses in the 90-day challenge, and
love it. I'm all about it.
And as soon as I get everybody into the 10 steps course, you can start that pretty much right away. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and for any of you, if you want to, rewatch any of this stuff, there will be a replay, but we'll also be having a live workshop this evening. At least for those of you in the US, it's this evening. For those that are in Australia, it's actually tomorrow, which I know many of you, it's the night right now, so you're probably coming later. It is 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific. If you're in Europe, it's in the middle of the night. But if you're in Australia, it's actually tomorrow. It's Friday for you. So hopefully we'll see some of you Aussies here in the evening. But if you just want to come if you have more questions that have come to you after you've watched this, come on over tonight and ask those questions. And of course, we'll be hanging out and answering all of them. And we're always like a little more fun and casual at night. So if you want to bring your drink of choice, whether it's coffee or tea or wine, usually Michelle's got a glass of wine and I've got a margarita. So come and hang out with us tonight. It's on this very same page again. We'll be doing it all again. So thank you guys for showing up, and we will see you again later.
All right. Thanks. Bye.